Hey climbers, Brent here. Are you ready to write your best songs ever? Are you ready to take that next step in your songwriting journey? Well, I want to help you with that. Listening to the C.L.I.M.B podcast is a great way to get started on your songwriting journey and to learn the basics about the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting. But eventually, you're probably going to need the personal touch. You're probably going to need some one-on-one feedback, some advice, and some help reaching your songwriting goals. And that's what I want to help do for you. I want to help you write your best songs ever. And I want to help you learn the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting, of how to turn pro in your mind and in your behavior before you ever turn pro on paper. Before you ever have the awards to hang on the wall, I want to give you the mindsets and the skills to earn that stuff. And so we'll dive into your questions and I'll give you honest answers. And I can help repair your song if it's already written but has a couple bugs and has some opportunities to get better. Or we can help prepare your song if you have an idea, a notion, a title. We can do your own private song title challenge if you want. If you want to get ready for a co-write, if you have a meeting coming up and you want to get your stuff locked down where it's the best it can be, I'm happy to help you do that as well. You can see my calendar, get all the details, and actually book a session at songwritingpro.com/coaching. That is songwritingpro.com/coaching. Now, if you're still not sure if a coaching session with me is the right thing for you, let's listen to what this climber had to say about their session.
This review is for anyone who is on the fence about booking a session with Brent Baxter. I have done several one-on-one coaching sessions via Skype and also completed an online class that Brent hosted a few months ago. I have nothing but great things to say about both of these experiences. I am a physician and a hospital administrator. Music and songwriting are two of my favorite hobbies and have been for many years. But as a hobbyist and someone who spends a great deal of time at work and in my career, it can be difficult to concentrate on something completely unrelated, or for that matter to devote the tremendous time and energy that is required to see decent results. Brent is a true professional who can quickly orient himself to what you want and what you need and be that perfect lyric writing partner that you otherwise would not be able to find. I tried writing with other amateurs online in the past, but it never went anywhere. Having the insight and experience of a professional, someone who has dedicated his career to the development of his craft, really makes a difference. If you do your part after he does his, I guarantee you will be happy that you spent the money and the time, and you will be hooked.
All right, guys, welcome to another Song Title Challenge where the question is, songwriters, how would you write this one? If you have ideas that we don't cover on this little mini series that we put together here, then by all means, please enter them in below the post that you found this podcast on, or put them into the Climb community and let us know what you think about that. What happens here? We have climbers. They send in their song titles to info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular. There is no S. That's daredevilproduction.com. And they put song title challenge in the subject line so that it gets into the right folder. And I spring them live to Brent on the show. And we spend the next 15 minutes trying to mimic what happens in a real live pro songwriting session, where before we even start thinking about the lyrics, we're talking about the concept of where the lyrics is going to go, to see if we've covered all the angles and to come up with 4 or 5 different angles that we didn't think of, something different than the obvious, but including the obvious. And we go from there. This is not a co-write in any way, shape, or form. This is just a fun, creative exercise just to remind you that this needs to be done. And if you've got a hook book, you need to go back and start doing this yourself with all your songs, and like Brent's done, and all of a sudden you start breathing new life into some old titles. The only thing we do require from this is we get tickets and invitations to the #1 party, right?
Amen.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, this is it. This is to encourage you to dig deeper and hopefully blow your mind with our brilliance. But if that doesn't happen, then hopefully just encourage you to dig deeper into your titles.
Hopefully to encourage you to be like, well, that was crap. I can do better than that.
I can be a pro songwriter. That guy's made some money doing this. All right. So either way, it's going to encourage you.
This title here is from climber David Pritchett. And the title is If Tomorrow Was Yesterday.
Tomorrow? Okay.
If tomorrow was yesterday.
I'm just writing this down here, David, so I can look at it as I'm chewing on it. So yeah, this is interesting. So I'm a country hammer, and everything kind of looks like country nail to me first off. So that's probably the first one I'm going to attack this with song ideas. So if tomorrow was yesterday, I might make that were yesterday just for grammatical-ification.
There you go.
But anyway, that's just really neither here nor there. So if tomorrow or yesterday. So I'm looking at the words going, okay, and the concept, if tomorrow or yesterday. Okay, there's many ways you can go with them. It's a little bit of a brain twister on the front end, not having the context. So let's tomorrow or yesterday.
Quick interruption. I feel like if tomorrow was yesterday sings better than if tomorrow were yesterday. And why can't you take that artistic license? I mean, I can't get no satisfaction is not grammatically correct.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about communication, not grammatification. Yeah. So, and singability.
Word seems clunky to me.
Yeah, if it doesn't sing well, that's kind of what I do. Like, if it doesn't sing well, don't sing it, because somebody's going to sing it if it doesn't sing well. So, yeah. If tomorrow was yesterday, so I'm looking forward, if it were yesterday, like, it's funny. We just went and got flu shots, or the kids anyway. Took the kids to the kid doctor to get flu shots yesterday. I'm like, if tomorrow or yesterday, I bet Ozzy was wishing that, tomorrow or yesterday already. So he would already be looking back on this thing like, whoa, that sucked. Glad it's already over with. I got to kind of skip it.
Deal with the shot. Yeah.
It's like I get to skip a day. Is that kind of what it is? Like I got to,
It could be that. Like it could be like to skip a day. Like so there's an angle we haven't thought of. Like, so if tomorrow was yesterday, you're thinking already about like the future. Like there's a lot of ways you could go with this. I think one is like, what would this story be that would make you want to skip a day?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Like, oh, something really bad's going to happen tomorrow. I just wish tomorrow or yesterday, or something really good. You already be looking back on it. It's interesting. The first thing I thought of where my mind went with just kind of twisting these words were like, if yesterday were tomorrow, I'd be thinking about how I would have lived it differently. Like if yesterday were tomorrow, I would know to get up and say a nice thing to my wife, not be grumpy. And you'd go through your day, like Groundhog Day almost, and go, no, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to live it right this time. If yesterday,
that could be juxtaposed against that. If yesterday were tomorrow, I'd know to do this.
Right.
But if tomorrow was yesterday, I would.
But tomorrow, yeah. Yeah. So it's tricky. So that to me makes a little clearer line. If yesterday were tomorrow, then I'd already know what's coming up, right? And I would do this and I'd do that and I'd do things different.
Here's how to do it better. Here's how to be better.
Right. But this is not that title. But if we're in a co-write, I'd be like, what about this? What about flipping it?
What about a guy that's tomorrow is nervous as all get out because he's about to propose to his girl?
Yeah. Yeah. So if yesterday were tomorrow.
What about a girl who's about to tell her boyfriend or her husband that she's pregnant? Mm-hmm. Make it a little heavier, right? And so
no, I got it. Okay. No, I got it. Okay. I just
Here
unlocked. We go. Okay, the coffee just.
This is the first time you've done. Mr. Cotta.
It just because we're not so busy talking because dead air, not great on shows. Okay, if tomorrow was yesterday, I'd still have you because when I'm going to do it, I'm going to propose tomorrow. When am I going to tell her? I would do it tomorrow. I've been putting it off. She left today. Man, if tomorrow was yesterday, I'd still have her.
Ooh,
I was going to do it tomorrow, right? I didn't.
Yeah,
I was always putting it off.
Yeah.
Because yesterday, crap, if I'd actually done it, she'd still be here if tomorrow was yesterday. But she left. She got tired of waiting.
Yeah.
And so tomorrow, the thing I was putting off, if I'd just done it yesterday, she wouldn't have left today.
That's good.
Okay. So that's a thing. Okay. And that's a downer. That's a lesson. That's a cautionary tale of, you should have done yesterday, and now it's costing you. Put it off. I was always going to do that tomorrow. I was going to start my diet tomorrow. If tomorrow was yesterday, I wouldn't be 350 pounds today. So it just makes sense to me to make it a love thing. Mm-hmm. And that's a negative thing. Okay, if tomorrow is yesterday. But also you can use it maybe not in the literal 24-hour sense, right? If tomorrow were yesterday, like if you think of like just the past, tomorrow was yesterday. Like if it were yesterday, if tomorrow I'd wake up and it was yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If tomorrow was yesterday. Yes. So if I wake up tomorrow and it's yesterday, you could be like, so maybe that is, I would live a day over. Okay. So that would make sense too.
You can spin it like that too. There you go. This angle number 2, that just happened.
Okay. So I'm digging into it here, David. The coffee's kicking in. I'm hungry. Okay. So tomorrow, I guess The was is kind of were. If it were, I just got to think of it in context of were yesterday, but you can sing it either one. If I wake up tomorrow and it's yesterday, then I get to live it over because I know what yesterday held. I would make better choices.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't have to be yeah. So that would still work. So it could be, I'd go back and I'd make those, I'd kiss her at the door. I'd tell my boss what for. I'd do all these different things. If tomorrow was yesterday, like I'd know how to handle it.
What's the Gary Allen with the right where I need to be kind of angle, right?
Yeah,
like,
I would have missed my flight on purpose and stayed home instead of doing that work thing. I wouldn't have worked so late. I wouldn't have da-da-da. So that's a thing. You kind of build a story of this guy that regrets, right? And I would either that. It didn't have to be regrets, though. It didn't have to be like I want to do a Back to the Future and fix something. It could just be like, man, I'd be the happiest guy in the world if tomorrow were yesterday. Because yesterday was such a good freaking day with this girl or whatever it was. I want to live it again.
Oh,
I have one wish to make. It'd be that tomorrow's yesterday kind of thing. I want to live that
twisting it around again. Yeah.
Let's put that sucker on repeat, right?
Yeah.
Let's put that day on repeat. So I would get up again and kiss you again. And we'd do all this, whatever, or our date.
Yeah. The first perfect date, the first date where you met
It's just
her.
like everything's right, man. The only thing that make me happier. Maybe you're talking is if tomorrow were yesterday. Maybe you're talking to us like, girl, the only thing that make me happier today is if tomorrow were yesterday. Like where I get to live that again with you. Sweetie.
It's getting dangerously. Is that getting close to like, I need you more than want you and I want you for all time? Like it's getting kind of in that little weird realm where you're like, wow, that's really
what?
deep.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
maybe
like,
maybe you're waking up beside her, whatever. And it's maybe day after the wedding or whatever, it's like,
what a great comment. Tomorrow was yesterday.
Tomorrow or yesterday.
I'd be even happier than I was right now. Like
it's like, because it was so good. I just want to live it again. Yesterday was so good. I want to live it again. So,
yeah.
So that's a thing. What else? Oh, but also yesterday, if you mean yesterday as in like the past, if tomorrow or yesterday, I'd wake up and I'd put on my tennis shoes at mom and dad's house and they'd say, have fun playing. Don't stay out of the street. It's like the nostalgia, like if tomorrow or yesterday, like if it were my past, I'd wake up and I'd wake up in my bed with my Star Wars sheets. And I would, like a nostalgia trip. Like
you could do an American Kids kind of a thing.
It could be that where it's fun. It could be like a nostalgia play and everything would be right if tomorrow were yesterday.
Yeah, that's cool because that's like all about the roots, the down home.
Yeah. And
country,
I wouldn't lock my doors. There'd be Andy Griffith on the porch next door, talking to Opie, it could be like a simpler time, longing for the past kind of thing.
No responsibility, just being a kid and playing bikes, riding bikes until the sun went down.
That's what I'd do.
Because you got to be home.
And then you could really pull the heartstrings about telling mom and dad I love them. And just maybe I wouldn't go out. I just want to stay in. Okay, gonna make me tear up. So that could be a thing too. So that could be, nostalgia and heartstrings and all that stuff. What I'd do if tomorrow were yesterday. So not yesterday as in literally yesterday, but yesterday as in time, right? That's not a stretch to make that make sense.
Yeah.
It could also be about a lost relationship. If it were yesterday, with her, not just yesterday literally, but with her, the things I would do differently and enjoy and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff in here, David, to dig. And I feel like we're just scratching the surface. I think we have some good ones. I think there's more in there. It could be we'd all It could be more of a, I Miss Mayberry, Rascal Flatts, but kind of a we, if tomorrow or yesterday, we'd put these phones down. We wouldn't be so concerned with likes and that, it could be kind of social statements and that tomorrow or yesterday, we could, obviously yesterday had its problems, but if you're focused on
tomorrow or yesterday, you'd know where your kids were at because it's the lawn where all the bikes are lay flat and as opposed to them all like being on video games and not knowing who they're talking to, where they're at and who they're talking to.
Yeah. And I feel like with the set, if tomorrow was yesterday, it feels like I'm going to follow you through the day. Like if today were yesterday, feels like it would have a little different thing to it. We'd all be doing this right now. But if tomorrow were yesterday, you got to speak future tense a little bit.
Ooh, is there a way that you could tweak and if today were yesterday at the end and just bring home the hammer with the statement of, because now you're in the now or something like that?
Maybe so. Or if tomorrow were yesterday, I wouldn't feel so hopeless today. Or I wouldn't we could do something about today. Like if tomorrow was yesterday, I would blah, blah, blah today. You can do something to bring today in, which would be cool. Kind of tomorrow, yesterday, and today, bring that all in. So it's almost a bookend chorus. Like if you started the chorus with, if tomorrow was yesterday. I mean, it's one of those that could start off the song too. If tomorrow was yesterday, I wake up in my bed 30 years ago, and Star Wars sheets and underoos and whatever. And then chorus, if tomorrow's yesterday, then you'd have like the bigger picture. Like I'd be carefree and I wouldn't know what all was ahead of me. Ignorance is bliss, blah, 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 blah. And if tomorrow's you're coming to the end of the course. If tomorrow, yesterday, I wouldn't blah, 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 blah today.
Yeah. Oh,
that's how you almost booking. It comes in the first line and the second to last line feels like it could be a cool structural thing, but you just got to really hammer that line. Like you got like, tomorrow's yesterday. It's cool. And then you hear it again and with a kicker line that just sends it over the fence. And you're like, oh, that's awesome. You got to find one of those. The way you find one of those is when you start getting your idea, and then you just make a list of like 1 through 20 and go, I'm going to come up with 20 kicker lines. And I'll force myself to come up with the right ones, like writing headlines for blog posts or whatever it is. Like I'm just going to keep on doing. I've done that with songs. I had a song with Byron Hill called One Too Many. It's like this girl's had one too many. And it talks about different things. I've had one too many drinks, so I'm going to cut myself off. And I know if I don't, I'm going to let you drive me home and kiss you at the door and invite you in. I've had one too many of those too, kind of thing of one night stand. So I've had one too many, blah, 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 blah. And then the chorus ends on, I've had one too many times. And I had to keep listing and just checking out different lines. What could that be? I know there's something there. I don't know what that next line is. And it was like 14th on my list. And finally I was like, I've had one too many times. I was like, it's right there. Use the whole course again, but that's the point. Is like I'm not doing that because I've had one too many times. So anyway, I think there's maybe something there, David. I think we've kind of hit our time, but could keep on digging. But I think there's some gold in there, David.
Yeah, and if David wants to reach out to you, and maybe he's got some titles that he doesn't want to put out there publicly, or maybe he wants to work on this, like what can you do?
I do private consulting, and you can get all the details at songwritingpro.com/coaching. That is songwritingpro.com/coaching. And basically, I can help you prepare your song. I can help you repair your song. You can ask me the questions about the art, the craft, the business of songwriting. We meet. I do some in-person stuff in Southwest Missouri and in Nashville. Mostly I do video conferences like Zoom, Skype, FaceTime. We can even meet over the phone. So plenty of ways you can get to me from wherever you are. But all the details, but I love doing it. It's fun. It's fun to geek out of a songwriting. So I like to meet people. I haven't made anyone cry yet, except in good ways. When we unlock a song and you hit that emotion. So I have maybe made a person or two cry. But that's a good cry, not mean cry. But again, songwritingpro.com/coaching. Love to hear from you.
All right, guys. Well, this brings us to the end of another killer song title challenge. If you have song titles, send in as many as you want. Send them to info@daredevilproduction.com. Put song title challenge in the subject line, and we'll get to it at some point. We get a bunch of them. This podcast exists because we want you to win, so keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.